Hello and welcome to the tiny book of Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast. Once upon a time, a spoiled, selfish prince lived in a shining castle deep in the forest. One winter's night, an old beggar woman came to the castle seeking shelter. In exchange, she offered the prince a single rose. Repulsed by her haggard appearance, the prince turned her away. The old woman warned him not to be deceived by appearances, for beauty is found within. When he dismissed her again, the old woman's ugliness melted away to reveal a beautiful enchantress. The prince tried to apologize, but he was too late, for she had seen there was no love in his heart. As punishment, the enchantress transformed the prince into a hideous beast and placed a spell on the castle and all who lived there. Unless he could learn to love another and earn their love in return, by the time the rose's last petal fell, he would be doomed to remain a beast for all time. In a nearby village, there lived a girl named Belle. Belle loved to read and dreamed of having exciting adventures like those in her books. The other villagers found Belle odd. They could not understand why she enjoyed the company of books over that of people. While Belle didn't fit in, Gaston, a local hunter, was beloved. All of the men wished to be him, and all of the women wished to marry him. If you guys are enjoying this, make sure to like and subscribe. But Gaston only had eyes for Belle. She was the most beautiful girl in town, and he was determined to make her his. One day, while Belle was on her way home, Gaston and his sidekick LeFou stopped her. Eager to gain her attention, Gaston snatched her book from her hands. Suddenly, they heard a loud explosion from Belle's house. Inside, Belle's father, Maurice, was working on his latest invention. LeFou laughed and called Maurice a crazy old loon, but Belle defended him. Her father wasn't crazy, he was brilliant. Belle hurried inside to help her father. She found Maurice surrounded by pieces of his newest contraption, an automatic wood chopper. Maurice had begun to worry that his invention would never work, but Belle had faith in him. She was sure the chopper would not only work, but would win first place at the fair the next day. With Belle's encouragement, Maurice quickly finished his machine. The next afternoon, he set off for the fair. The woods were dark and confusing, and poor Maurice soon lost his way. Before long, he was completely turned around. Suddenly, a howling sound filled the air. It was wolves. Panicked, Maurice's horse threw him and bolted. Maurice ran, but the wolves found him. They cornered him against a huge iron gate. Maurice banged on the gate, shouting for help. The gate creaked open, and Maurice stumbled through. He found himself at the door of a castle. Pushing it open, he grabbed a candlestick and began to look around. Suddenly, the candlestick opened its eyes and began to talk. Maurice could hardly believe his eyes. The castle was full of enchanted objects. The candlestick, whose name was Lumiere, helped Maurice to a comfortable chair in the front of the fire. At that moment, a shadow appeared over Maurice. Turning, he found himself face to face with a hideous beast. Terrified, Maurice jumped up from his chair. The beast let out an angry roar. He thought Maurice had come to stare at him. Grabbing the inventor, he threw him into the dungeon. Meanwhile, back in the village, Gaston was preparing an elaborate wedding. He was sure Belle would accept his proposal and marry him at once. Inside Belle's cottage, Gaston laid out the wonderful life she could look forward to, keeping house for him and having his children. To Gaston's surprise, Belle turned him down. Belle tried to slip away from Gaston, but he cornered her against the door. Turning the knob, she opened it and quickly slipped out of the way. Gaston fell through the doorway directly into a mud puddle. Humiliated, he wiped the mud from his eyes and swore to make Belle his wife, no matter what. Belle was still laughing at the thought of marrying Gaston when Maurice's horse Philippe galloped into the yard. Belle froze in her tracks. She knew something was terribly wrong. Belle asked Philippe to take her to Maurice. By the time they arrived at the castle gates, it had grown quite dark. Determined to find her father, Belle entered the dreary castle. Belle searched high and low. Finally, she found her father in the dungeon. Sick and weak, Maurice urged her to flee the castle before it was too late. But it was already too late. A loud roar filled the room. The beast had found Belle. Belle pleaded with the beast to let her father go, but he refused. Finally, desperate to see her father free, Belle offered to take his place. The beast accepted. Maurice raced back to the village. He tore into the tavern, shouting about the terrible beast, but the villagers just laughed at him. Listening to Maurice, an idea began to form in Gaston's head. He was sure Belle would do anything for her father. Perhaps he could use Maurice's crazy rantings to his advantage. Back at the castle, the beast showed Belle to her bedroom. Then, informing her that she would join him for dinner, he left. As Belle thought of all she'd lost, a knock came at the door. At Belle's invitation, a teapot named Mrs. Potts and her son, Chip, entered the room. Belle was astonished. The household objects were alive. Mrs. Potts commended Belle for her bravery in taking her father's place. Though Belle was grateful for Mrs. Potts' kindness, she flatly refused to have dinner with the beast. When the beast learned that Belle had refused him, he became furious. He was used to having his orders obeyed and did not like being defied. Mrs. Potts and Lumiere urged the beast to show the girl kindness, but he would not listen. If she would not eat with him, she would not eat at all. But that was one order the enchanted objects were not prepared to follow. That evening, when Belle crept downstairs, Lumiere showed her straight into the dining room. Singing and dancing, the enchanted objects treated Belle to an elaborate feast. After so many years, they were thrilled to have someone to serve. After dinner, Belle set out to explore the castle. The Beast had forbidden her from entering the West Wing, but that only made her more curious. In the West Wing, Belle found herself looking at a destroyed bedroom. Broken furniture and shredded drapes littered the floor. On one wall hung a portrait of a young man, his handsome face torn through with claw marks. In the center of the room, under a glass dome, sat a single red rose. Entranced by its beauty, Belle reached out to touch the flower. Suddenly, a loud roar filled the room. The Beast snatched the rose away, holding it close to his body. Then he shouted for Belle to get out. Terrified, Belle ran from the castle. She and Philippe fled into the woods, but the pair was soon surrounded by a pack of vicious wolves. Before the wolves could attack, the Beast sprang from the shadows. Growling and snarling, he attacked the pack, sending the savage animals scattering into the woods. When the wolves were gone, Belle helped the Beast onto Philippe and took him back to the castle. He had been injured in the attack and was in need of care. As Belle tended to the Beast's wounds, she thanked him for saving her life. For the first time, she started to see good in him. In the village, Gaston and LeFou met with Monsieur Dark, the proprietor of the local insane asylum. LeFou shared the story of Maurice's ravings about the Beast. Gaston and Monsieur Dark formed a plan. Maurice would be locked away unless Belle agreed to marry Gaston. At the castle, Belle got to know the Beast and see his gentle side. The two played in the snow together and fed the castle birds. The Beast had grown to care for Belle. He wished to do something special for her. But what? Finally, he had an idea. Taking Belle by the hands, he led her to his library. Belle gasped in amazement. It was the most wonderful thing she had ever seen. Pleased, the Beast told Belle that it was all hers. That evening, Belle and the Beast read a book together by the fire. Belle had begun to care for the Beast as well, and was delighted to share her favorite pastime with him. The enchanted objects watched Belle and the Beast hopefully. Perhaps she would be the one to break the curse. A few evenings later, the Beast arranged for an elegant feast for Belle. Although it went against his nature, he cut and combed his hair, put on a clean suit, and tried his best to mind his manners. When the meal was over, the Beast escorted Belle to the ballroom. As they danced, he realized he had fallen in love with her. The Beast asked Belle if she was happy, and she replied that she was, although she missed her father. The Beast showed her his magic mirror, which allowed her to see anything she wished. Belle asked the mirror to show her Maurice, but when his image appeared, she saw that he was quite ill. The Beast could see that Belle was worried about her father, and so, although only a handful of petals remained on the rose, he released her from her promise. She was free to go home. Giving Belle the magic mirror to remember him by, Beast sent Belle on her way. The beast let out a sad howl. He had set Belle free because he loved her, but with her gone, it seemed that any hope of breaking the curse disappeared as well. Safely at home, Belle embraced her father. He was thrilled to see her, but did not understand how she had escaped the terrible beast. Suddenly, there came a knock at the door. It was Monsieur Dark. He ordered his guards to throw Maurice in his wagon. The inventor was to be taken to the asylum at once. Belle tried to reach her father, but Gaston stopped her. Seizing her hand, he offered to free Maurice, if Belle would agree to be his bride. Belle knew her father was not crazy. Holding up the magic mirror, she showed the villagers that the beast was real. Gaston could see that Belle cared for the beast. Jealous, he grabbed the mirror and rallied the villagers. It was up to them, he said, to kill the terrible beast who threatened their village. Grabbing pitchforks and torches, the villagers set out at once. Soon they reached the castle gates. Inside, the enchanted objects watched the mob approach. Mrs. Potts ran to warn the beast, but he did not care. Shut up in his room, the beast watched as the petals fell from the rose. Without Belle, he had nothing left to live for. Outside, the villagers used a felled tree as a battering ram to beat down the castle doors. The beast did not want to defend himself, but the enchanted objects were not willing to give up so easily. As the villagers broke into the castle, the enchanted objects fought back. Soon, only Gaston remained. Finding his way to the west wing, he leveled an arrow at the beast. The beast sadly looked over his shoulder at Gaston. The hunter's arrow struck him in the back, and he roared in pain. Gaston seized the opportunity, lunging at the beast. He pushed him through the window. Gaston jumped through the window after the beast. With a mighty kick, he sent the beast flying off the balcony onto a thin parapet below. Gaston followed the beast. Raising a club, he prepared to bring it down on the mighty creature. At that moment, Belle arrived at the castle. Seeing Gaston and the beast on the roof, she screamed. The beast stirred. Belle had come back for him. As Belle raced through the castle toward them, the beast began to fight back against Gaston. The beast fought Gaston to the edge of the roof. Snarling, he grabbed the hunter by the neck and dangled him over the edge. As Gaston begged for his life, the beast's expression softened. If he killed Gaston, he truly would be the monster everyone feared. Bringing Gaston back to safety, the beast told him to get out. At that moment, Belle arrived on the balcony. She called down to the beast. The beast climbed up to Belle, but Gaston was close behind. Taking advantage of the beast's distraction, Gaston withdrew a knife and stabbed the beast in the back. As the beast whipped around in pain, Gaston lost his grip and fell from the ledge. With a cry, he plunged onto the rocks below. Belle helped the beast back over the balcony. There was little she could do for him. He had been badly injured. Sobbing, Belle told the beast that she loved him. Inside the glass dome, the last petal fell from the rose. Suddenly, the beast's body rose into the air. Magic and light swirled around him. and his nearly lifeless form slowly began to spin. As quickly as it had begun, the magic stopped. Belle gasped. In the beast's place was a handsome prince. Belle did not know who stood before her, but as she looked in his eyes, she realized he was still the same person she had fallen in love with. From inside the castle came happy shouts as one by one the enchanted objects regained their human forms. The curse had been broken at last, and together Belle and the prince lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.